Hey, what is up guys, it's Thunderstruck115, and today, I got a question for you. Are you excited for the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection? I'd hardly blame you if you are. These are fantastic games, and the fact that they're being made available to modern platforms is amazing. I remember playing the shit out of this game on my family's old Windows XP desktop, and it was a really fun time. And then I bought the game again back in 2017 when the multiplayer servers on Steam were restored. I like these games, especially Battlefront 2, but unfortunately I can't really say I'm particularly excited for this collection. Or rather, I guess a more accurate statement is that I have some reservations with this collection. Look, I hate to be that one guy that rains on everyone's parade, but I just have to get this off my chest. This collection is overpriced. That's really what this boils down to. I think $35 is overpriced for what this collection actually offers. If this collection was more like $20, I'd probably be singing a different tune. Because if we go over to Steam and we look up the original releases of the Battlefront games, you'll see that they're $10 each, totaling $20. So these games have essentially been marked up by 75%. Now, given such a markup, you would expect there to be significant enhancements over the original, but unfortunately, it doesn't really look like there's that many. From what was shown in the trailer, the graphics look exactly the same as it did back in 2005. If there are any significant enhancements to the visuals, I have not been able to spot them. Now, this isn't really too bad on its own. In fact, I'd actually say that this game's visuals hold up quite well for a game from 2005. It looks very Star Wars. So, I mean, this on its own isn't really a huge deal. I mean, if there are significant improvements and additions in other areas, I'd say it's worth it. Unfortunately, the amount of enhancements we do get in other areas are quite minimal. Now, according to the game's Steam page, the hardware renderer is being changed to DirectX 12, and somebody in the Steam discussion said that the game has been reworked to run natively on 64-bit systems instead of using a 32-bit version, which should help prevent this game from running into issues that might otherwise occur, but even then, the original release didn't really have that many issues running on modern systems to begin with. So, as an end user, I'm not really sure why I should care about that. Now, I'm hoping this means things like uncapped frame rates, since the original release is capped at 80 FPS, or more choice with things like graphical options, but there's no official statement on if this is the case or not, so I really don't know what to expect here. I mean, I'm assuming they're gonna rework the menu system so it's not hard-coded to 480p like it is in the original release, but is that really enough to justify the price tag? I don't really think so. And now let's get to the next part, because I know y'all are thinking, ah, but Thunder, they're adding new bonus content to the collection. Surely that will make the markup worth it. Well, when you look at the quote-unquote new content that they're adding to the game, you'll quickly realize that most of it isn't actually new content. The advertising states that there are bonus maps that are added to these games. Well, for Battlefront 1, there is one bonus map, that being Jabba's Palace. Good map, but I have to ask, how is this bonus content? It was literally in the original release. In fact, just to make sure this wasn't a Mandela effect occurring, I grabbed the DVD copy of Battlefront 1 that I played as a kid, installed it on my new computer, and guess what? Jabba's Palace is in the fucking game. So, calling this bonus content is extremely misleading, and that's all the bonus content they listed for Battlefront 1, so I guess we'll just move to Battlefront 2 then. This one has 4 bonus maps, those being Bespin Cloud City, Renvar Harbor, Renvar Citadel, and Yavin 4 Arena. Now, these aren't really new maps as much as they are maps that were in Battlefront 1 that are being ported into Battlefront 2, which is nice, I suppose. And then there's also 2 bonus heroes, that being Kit Fisto and Asajj Ventress. That's pretty cool. At least that's what I first thought, until I remembered, wait a second, this isn't new content either, because technically this was exclusive content for the Xbox version, which you can also add to the PC version via a community mod. I mean, granted, it is coming to all platforms this time around, but even then, as somebody who owns the game both on PC and on Xbox, what does this really offer me? Oh, and another thing, apparently the versions of Kit Fisto and Asajj Ventress that they showed off in the trailer were actually ripped from that community mod on PC. They weren't taken directly from the Xbox version. I know this because the original author of the mod has come out and stated that they were using an outdated version of the mod. Now, the mod author doesn't really seem to be that upset that they're using his mod. In fact, he actually seems kind of flattered by it. But the problem is he had to create a few things custom before he found a way to port the original versions into his current version of the mod, which results in the outdated version, and therefore the one being used in the collection, to seem off. For example, Asajj Ventress in the current version of the mod, as well as in the Xbox version, holds 2 lightsabers in one hand. In the outdated version of the mod being used in the collection, however, she's holding 2 lightsabers, 1 in each hand, similar to Ayla Secura. If they were going to use the mod, they could have at least used the up-to-date version, which fixed this. Totally baffling for a $35 collection. Now, sure, them using an outdated version of the mod isn't a huge deal on its own, but it does make me wonder, what else are they not telling us? Because if this is the shit we can see, then what is there that we can't? Given the state of the modern gaming industry, I would not be surprised if this collection was broken at launch. But let's just continue under the assumption that the game works fine at launch. So far, all the bonus content is just content that was previously exclusive to one platform being ported to everything else. There are a couple other enhancements which genuinely are nice, though. Hero Assault Mode, which originally was only available on the Mos Eisley, is now available on every ground map. That's nice. The game is also Steam Deck verified, so you can play this game on the go. Additionally, the PC version is now getting split-screen support much like the consoles are. That's nice. Unfortunately, this belies my next problem because the split-screen functionality has been downgraded from 4 players to just 2. And this is not just for the PC version, this is also true for all the console versions, as both the Xbox and PlayStation storefront list that it only supports 2-player split-screen. A downgrade from the 4-player split-screen that you could do on the OG Xbox version. Now, I know somebody's going to say, but Thunderstruck, most people don't play split-screen anymore. We should really just be thankful that we get it at all. And while I can see where those people are coming from, at the same time, I really don't think it's an unreasonable expectation for a re-release of an old game to at least have all of the content and features that it had in the original release. I mean, hell, the original even let you do 4-player split-screen in modes like the Campaign and Galactic Conquest. So when we have current-gen consoles, which are like 20 times as powerful, we really shouldn't be having an issue here. Even the Nintendo Switch should be able to do it just fine. Huge missed opportunity. Much like how they missed the opportunity to give us crossplay. Now, there is cross-gen multiplayer, so PS4 and PS5 users will be able to play with each other, and Xbox One and Xbox Series users will be able to play with each other. But unfortunately, you can't have PlayStation, PC, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch users all playing together in the same lobby. Having crossplay would increase the overall player count and reduce matchmaking times, which would be especially useful in this game, which has 64-player multiplayer. I also would have liked to see the Campaign and Galactic Conquest be playable online. Now, admittedly, we haven't heard anything official saying that it won't be in the collection, but we also haven't gotten any official confirmation that it will be in the collection. Playing with other peoples in the original release was only available on console and only in split screen. This meant on PC, those were single-player modes only, which sucked for Galactic Conquest in particular, because I really would have loved to be able to play that with another person. And if you are able to play these modes online with other people in the collection, then I'm genuinely surprised that they didn't state as such in the marketing. Now, I do want to state that all this is mainly coming from the perspective of a PC player. I do think the value proposition is a little bit better on consoles, because even though the collection is ostensibly the same with all the same content, the PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch had no way to play this game in any capacity until this collection. Meanwhile, the original Xbox version is available through backwards compatibility on Xbox One and Xbox Series consoles, but it does not have online multiplayer due to OG Xbox Live being shut down in 2010. Not to mention, it's capped at 30 FPS, and like all the other original console versions, the multiplayer was cut down from 64 players to 32. But on PC, you already had the 64-player multiplayer. The online servers are still up, and you can easily get the content that was exclusive to the OG Xbox release via mods. And those original versions only total to $20 versus the $35 charge for this collection. Now, it'd be one thing if they did what Bethesda and Night Dive Studios did with the Quake 2 re-release release and just made this a free upgrade, but they didn't. Although, if you do already own Battlefront 1 or Battlefront 2 on Steam, you do get a 20% discount on the collection up until its release date. But even then, that's still $28, more expensive than both games combined. Now, I will state that this collection is, objectively speaking, better than the original release, outside of the split-screen downgrade, which even then, that only really applies to the Xbox version. But my problem is with the value proposition, especially on PC. If this collection only went for about $20, I'd be singing a much different tune. Because frankly, what you're really paying for is a revived player base. I have no doubt in my mind that this collection is going to sell like hotcakes and that the multiplayer servers are going to be extremely active once again. And for some people, that alone might be enough to justify the price. But even with that, I do think there's still room to expect better for the price point. For example, if you want value for money, look at Halo the Master Chief Collection. For $40, you're getting all 6 mainline Halo games that release on the OG Xbox and Xbox 360, revamped multiplayer for all of them, a completely new multiplayer mode in the form of Halo 2 Anniversary, increases to the limits of objects you can place in the Forge modes in each of the games that have it, which leads to bigger, better, and more complex custom maps. The campaigns for Halo CE and Halo 2 got new visuals, music, and sound effects, with options to play with the original if you prefer, and you have an asset browser. All of this for only $5 more than what the Star Wars Battlefront collection is going for, and it offers a lot more. Here's another example. The Quake 2 re-release that happened last year from Night Dive Studios. First of all, if you already owned the original version of Quake 2 on Steam, you got it as a free upgrade, and even if you didn't, it was only $10. There were a few visual upgrades, most notably the lighting, even if the game ultimately still does look like it's from the original release year. It has the original campaign, both of its expansion packs, the Nintendo 64 version of the campaign, and a completely new campaign called Call of the Machine, which is even better than the original campaign. A compass that makes it a lot less tedious to navigate the levels, and revamped multiplayer with crossplay across all platforms, and with 4-player split screen across all platforms, except for PC and Xbox Series consoles, which instead had 8-player split screen. All of this for just $10. One more example, Command & Conquer Remastered Collection. For $20, you got remasters of both Tiberian Dawn and Red Alert 1, all of the expansions, all of the previously console-exclusive missions, a map editor, revamped multiplayer with improved balancing, with an option to go back to the original balancing if you prefer, an actual skirmish AI that can build bases in Tiberian Dawn, several quality-of-life improvements to the gameplay, especially when it comes to managing production queues, enhancements to all the cutscenes, a bunch of bonus tracks including remixes and previously unreleased tracks, and a bunch of behind-the-scenes gallery content, all for just $20. Like, if you look at those re-releases and how much they did and how much they added and improved, and then you look at the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, it should become pretty clear that something isn't adding up. The value proposition just isn't anywhere near as good. Now, granted, this is definitely not the most egregious example I've seen of upcharging an old-ass game. I think that crown goes to the Mario 3D All-Stars collection. But I definitely think that there is reason to expect better, and I was honestly surprised that, with the exception of the Steam community page, not that many people really seem to be talking about this. Maybe I'm just missing something big, and trust me, I would love for that to be the case. I would love to learn a new piece of information about this game that puts my concerns to rest. But as it currently stands, I have some very notable reservations with this collection. I'm sure this game will still sell like hotcakes, and I'm sure eventually I'll get my hands on it as well, whether I wait for a Steam sale or I just get it through a third-party key site like Humble Bundle or G2A. Because these games are great, but this collection could be so much better. Anyways, that's gonna be about it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more, and tell me what you think of this collection and what you think of my thoughts on this collection. Anyways, that's it. Peace!